right. I am Sam.
And I'm Adam.
And this is our second try as we attempt to capture the magic of the 2020 American presidential election. Adam, what's your take on the current situation?
Ah! That's my thinking. That's what I think. Yeah.
Anywho, that's not at all what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
We're talking about what metal is and what isn't and is metal. Like, is punk metal? What's the difference between metal and punk? What is the genres that cross the boundaries and where do they fall? Where does metalcore? What is noise?
Exactly, because as two internet autists, I know I like to nicely categorize all of my music into the correct genres and subgenres, and so when someone just says, "Oh, it's all screamo," triggers me, and we gotta set the record straight once and for all.
I think it's important that we talk about it before we sort of really get into this podcast thing.
Yeah, before we start talking about the late 80s noise revival and how it affects the future of metal in general, we got to at least quantify what noise is in metal and all that other stuff. So I agree, it's a good conversation to have. But before that, we got to talk about what we've been listening to this week, because pretty stacked week, all things considered. What do you want us to talk about first? Because, like I said, there are a lot of solid albums, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. I think the one we need to really talk about that we forgot to mention that was coming out at the end of this week, or at the end of last week, was the Emma Ruth Rundle and Thou collaborative project, May Our Chambers Be Full, which is just fucking great. Just a goddamn good sludge metal album.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, I described it as like a gothic post-grunge album, but
it's got post-metal influence in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a take on post-grunge. Like I think it's most similar to APC than anything else, honestly.
Really?
Really.
Maybe you need to go back and listen to it with that mindset.
No, seriously, dude. Like, well, I'm sure we'll probably talk about this in our year-end list because it really is an amazing album. But like the way the song Ancestral Recall interpolates the song Sleeping Beauty by APC, like that the whole song is built on the Sleeping Beauty riff or a version of that riff.
Okay.
And the vocal melodies are very similar to Maynard's. And once you hear that similarity, all the other songs start like slotting into place. Because what made APC cool is the way they blended all these like late 90s metal adjacent genres and like kind of covered them with an alt rock edge.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Thou and Emma Ruth are doing here.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's really good. Like, Emma Ruth Rundle's a great vocalist. The songs feel really fleshed out. There's a lot of layers. Mm-hmm. Nothing feels super formulaic. We got the signature Thou gvilts that pierce through. All the songs have nice climaxes. The tones are sick. Mm-hmm. It's produced really well. It's just a really solid album. And this is definitely the album that, like, I guess where we fall, where we're metalheads, but we also like a fair amount of non-metal and indie and whatnot. This is the album that like would make us salivate because it sort of sits at the cross section between, indie and metal, and it's pretty cool. I think it's definitely emblematic of where where metal's going as we sort of as the genre boundaries get more and more incestuous.
Yeah. Speaking of which, another one that we missed last week that is related to what we talked about is the new Pussifer album, which came out on Friday. Speaking of Leonard James.
Wait, it came out on Friday?
Yeah, it came out on Friday.
What?
Yeah,
I feel...
So I told you, missed it. But yeah. I listened to it once so far. And it was good, but not great. It was...
No, I agree.
If you like the two singles, you'll like the whole album, because that's the whole album. It's just that kind of vibe. Very electronic, but like outwardly, it like super in your face with its use of like 80s electronics. It's pretty cool. If you like Pussifer, you should like it, but I don't think it's a money shot or a Conditions in any way.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was fearing. God damn it, we really are just not on the ball when it comes to these new albums.
I know.
Well, I'll listen to it a few times this week so we can talk about it next week. But I guess I'll bring up another non-metal album that I don't know. It's like one of those things that someone I know found on the depths of Bandcamp. I've been playing it on my radio show. It's the band El Chirota and their debut, which is called Tiempos Raros. Pardon my Spanish. I can't speak it. But they're a Mexican band who sort of make mid-period Sonic Youth / Nirvana worship, except mixed with a healthy blend of garage rock and shoegaze. And they take a really modern sensibility in this approach, and it's just executed super well done. The album's like 45 minutes long, and all the songs are amazing. They're filled with hooks, feels really organic, really warm production, and I've had a few of those songs stuck in my head for a few weeks now. If you're a fan of any of the early Nirvana stuff, you'd love this album.
I agree. It's a good album. I listened to it only once or twice. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting blend of styles that's going on. And yeah, it's cool. It's not metal, which is a good change.
Yeah, it's not metal like most of what we listen to. Speaking of metal, though, another like post Death Heaven adjacent non-metal band that is metal is Botanist.
Yeah,
who makes post-black metal or black gaze with an emphasis on non-traditional instruments such as harpsichord, hurdy-gurdy, all the bizarre medieval instruments that you'd never hear in anything but really mediocre folk metal.
Well, the other thing is that they don't use guitars; they use dulcimers.
Wait, really?
Yep, it's all recorded on hammered dulcimer. It's not guitar.
Wow, that's based.
That's why it's not on like Metalum, because it's not considered metal because it doesn't have a distorted guitar.
Oh my! I was wondering why it wasn't on Metalum, because this album is just a post-metal album or post-black album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's really good.
No, it's really, really, really good. It's just so the way that the dulcimer just fucking pierces the mix is like unheard of. Like you don't hear it anywhere else. It's such a unique sound. Because it's even harder. It's even harsher than like a synth.
Yeah. No, gosh, I feel dumb now because I was like, this doesn't sound quite like a guitar. I just assumed it was like a bunch of layers.
Nope. Dulcimer.
But yeah, no, it's written well. It sounds really cool. It's definitely unique. And I guess on this album, it's a solo project, right?
It is.
Yeah, and all the songs are about the environment and the earth and all that jazz, hence the name Botanist. And it's just well done. It has a lot of those nice like black gaze catharsis moments that like some of the better Death Heaven tracks all build towards. And it's executed well. And the album does a good job of like mixing it up just enough so it doesn't get stale, but not straying too far from like the singular sound.
I really like also that it's super digestible. It doesn't feel too, I guess, daunting. Where some of the where like I don't remember how long the Ordinary Corrupt Human Love was, but it was like 70 minutes or something. This is like 40, I think. Yeah,
no, it's like it's 35 minutes.
35 minutes.
And so it goes by like that, and it's very digestible, like you said. And no, I fully agree, because like a lot of great post-black albums kind of feel a little masturbatory. Because, when a song's 15 minutes long, you got to build towards the climax. Yeah. And it's nice that they achieve a lot of the same thing, or I guess Botanist achieves a lot of the same things in just 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also it's on the Flenser, which is cool to see, one of the biggest non-traditional music labels repping odd metal, as always.
Yeah. I think we should talk about just Pup in general, since we both have Pup on our list of different releases. We've talked about Pup, I think, before. I don't remember if we have.
No, I don't think we have, actually.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Pup are cool.
Pup put out a new EP like 2 weeks ago that we didn't know about. It's called This Place Sucks Ass. It's really good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, their cover of like the late 90s radio classic AM 180 is awesome. really like. But I don't know. I feel like most people who would be listening to this know who Pup are, but Pup are like the biggest modern pop punk band. They sort of imbue like early 2000s pop punk with a real sense of maturity and like a lot of the lessons learned from like the early 2010s like pop and punk indie scene.
Yeah,
And they
it's a good way to describe
and they
it.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't really feel childish. It feels like pop punk for the moment. It's produced well, it's performed well, it's written really well. A bunch of songs about like, you know, the nihilism of the 9 to 5 workers' existence, and really digestible like 3.5 minute chunks with verse, choruses, verses, great guitar work, aggressive vocals. And Pup have 3 albums. I think I put Morbid Stuff as an honorable mention last year.
You did.
Pup slap.
It probably should have been
And,
higher on that list, honestly.
Yeah, well, Adam, you hate pop punk.
I don't hate pop punk anymore. I like Pup now. It takes it's a grower for me, because
What do you mean it's a grower?
when you spend literally day in and day out listening to nothing but fucking quilts and blast beats, it's sometimes hard to transition out of it. Which is my fault.
I totally feel that.
That's my fault.
But no, like Pop slap, and like there's a reason why they're kind of universally beloved in the music scene, because they haven't released a bad album, and I don't know. I think "Kids" is like one of my favorite songs from the 2010s. Yeah. Just like the kids.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and the new EP is great. It's all quarantine songs, a couple covers. Would recommend checking it out, and their album Morbid Stuff from last year. It's pretty phenomenal.
Very cool.
Adam, I see you've been into the Molcat Doma.
Dude, okay. First of all, didn't know Molcat Doma was so popular.
Yeah, Molcat Doma are ginormous.
Like, dude, what TikTok can do to a song. Like, their most popular song has 31 million plays.
What?
31 million.
Dang, we gotta get our songs on TikTok.
No, literally, like it's unbelievable. I was like, because I was in the car with my friend, and she was like, "Wait a minute, I know this song." And I was like, "You know this song? Like you know Russian Chill Wave?" And then I looked how many plays, and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's disgusting."
It's gross. But anyway, very cool, very chill. It sort of falls into, like... I've been listening to a lot of Greg Puciato still, and Black Queen, obviously, because I'm just obsessed now. And Molcat Doma is not that far away from that, because it's...
I mean, I'd say it's Russian post-punk first and foremost.
It all comes from synth-pop, okay? It all comes from synth-pop. Because there is some synth-pop moments on that album. But regardless, it's really cool. And, like, it actually took me a little bit to get into, because I was like, this isn't exactly what I was expecting, but as I've started to listen to it, just over and over, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm into the Doma, dude.
The Doma is great. I always play them on my normie radio show.
Yeah.
It's super, it's like neo-Soviet post-punk. It's super, super vibey. I love the Molcat Doma. It just, like, it really captures, like, sort of this post-millennial sentiment, like this post-millennial wisteria regarding like communism that like you really can't articulate.
No, I mean,
you know,
you can't really hear it anywhere else. I've never heard anything like this album ever, which is cool.
And what's even funnier is like they come across as like a meme band, like, oh, it's Russians doing synth stuff.
No, literally.
But then you like they're great songwriters, and their albums are great listening experiences.
Yeah.
Like they're all slappers.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped an EP a few weeks ago, and it's a slapper.
No, dude, new album coming out.
Well, they've released a bunch of singles up, and all the singles are good.
Oh, well, yeah, new album. It's called I think it's called Monument. It's coming out soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on the topic of metal.
Wait, because that's not even metal. You've been listening to Hava Krunu. Is Hava Krunu bass Sam, or is Hava Krunu cringe?
Well, like Hava Krunu is exactly what like that style of music should be. It's exactly what like I guess folk metal or folk black or pagan black, whatever you want to call it, should be.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing though? Because I think that like seriously, like that album, the new one, which I'm not gonna try to pronounce. I think that That's one of the best albums of the year.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's executed flawlessly. It sort of touches. It has like this really stunning sense of melodicity. I can never pronounce that word. It's really melodious. Melodies slap, and it mixed with like the black metal tropes, but in a really tasteful way. It's really good. It's really well done. And what I love about the album in particular is that all the folk elements don't come across as quiche. Because even in like some of the folk or pagan black classics, like some of those old Bathory albums that sort of inspired the whole genre, the transitions between the two sections can be really jarring, and they can kind of like the production or the vocals will take you out. But this album does a really good job of blending the two. Like the choirs are really tastefully done.
Yeah.
And the band definitely knows what they're doing. It's really, really good. I don't really have like, it's one of those things where every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's all I needed. That's all I wanted.
Well, I want to talk about Adam's favorite band that he's never listened to ever, or Opeth.
Okay.
Because when it comes to fall, you gotta peth it up. And I love Opeth. I have like all their albums except for the first one. They slap. I think every metalhead loves them. I've been really like digging into Orchid the past week because I never gave it the time of day. And Orchid slaps, which is their debut from '94.
Don't get me wrong. I love Opeth, but it's a lot of music. And I know I say that. I really don't know why I haven't gone back yet and just done it. Because I know I love it. Like, I already know that. And like,
yeah, Adam over here has listened to Blackwater Park and Ghost of Perdition, and that's his entire Opeth knowledge.
That is not true. That is false. But anyway. Anyway. I
don't know. Look, when I got to college and I first started using Spotify, I just got really into Opeth because I suddenly had the opportunity to just bounce between all their 14 albums.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, Orchid's a really interesting beast because a lot of people called it forest metal when it came out because it's not quite black, it's not quite death. It's like Gothenburg Swedish melodeath mixed with sections of black metal, mixed with sections of folk music, mixed with like prog breakdowns. It's a really interesting blend, and it really holds up today. Like it sounds super 90s, but in like the best ways. Like the guitar tones have zero mids. The leads are all super simple, but like they really work. And some of the production choices are just horrifically endearing.
Sure.
But I don't know, I love it. It's really good. I was listening to it today while playing Bloodborne.
Okay.
And definitely suitable music.
Fair enough.
It's way more mellow deathy than anything else they've done though.
That sounds about right. I think I've listened to Orchid like twice, maybe. And I can remember that.
Yeah, a lot of people consider it one of the best metal debuts ever, and I totally see that.
Yeah.
Like the band's sound is really fully formed.
True. True. All right. Are you ready? Tackle the beast. Wrangle him. In the best way we can.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. Where do you want to start? What do you think is a good starting point? What constitutes metal?
Yeah.
We sort of got into it with Botanist.
Yeah, so the very simple but not quite simple, because a lot of people have different ideas about it, is if something is metal, if you can directly trace its lineage to Black Sabbath.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Because, like it or not, I mean, you can get contentious. You could be like, oh, Coven invented metal, or Mountain invented metal, whatever. But Black Sabbath were the first very, very popular band to crystallize what we know now as metal,
right,
which is a combination of hard rock, blues rock, psych rock.
Yeah.
Throw them in a blender, make it a little scarier, a little darker, a little heavier, and that's goddamn metal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't think that there's any big metal genre that you can really take without that in it.
Oh yeah, totally. Like every single, there's a really good Reddit post on this that I could not find, but every single genre of metal or subgenre of metal, you can trace back to Sabbath. Like I have the map of metal open right here, and I could explain how every single one here is Black Sabbath, except faster, with more distortion, with harsh vocals,
right,
whatnot.
Yeah. Well,
and so that's a really important thing to keep in mind.
There's our podcast. We're done. We can wrap up. We can go to news now.
All right. Fear Factory.
Fear Factory. No. I don't know. But what about punk, Sam? Where does punk come into play? Because guess what? Guess where all those black metalheads in Norway were looking to? Punk. Guess where all those metalcore kids were looking to? Punk.
Well, so
punk is an.
Do we want to like define every single subgenre, or are you just talking about specifically what constitutes metal?
Well, I mean, I think that we should at least. I think that we should at least qualify what is like the contentious genres or subgenres. We should at some point give a formal home.
All right. Well, so punk notably came up later than Black Sabbath.
Yeah, a little bit.
They
like
were probably
10 years or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people argue about when punk was born. Most people will say the mid-70s, but punk didn't really become a cultural force until the late 70s because it evolved from, Britain, a bunch of pissed off post-war British kids sort of getting upset with the commercialization of rock and sort of spitting in the face of the establishment by playing rock aggressive and screaming.
Right.
And, I mean, most people will point to Sex Pistols as the first real punk band. Or, actually, a lot of people say Velvet Underground. But I think as far as, what we would consider punk nowadays, the Sex Pistols are, the first superstars.
I agree.
And punk eventually goes stateside, right?
Yeah.
Crosses the ocean.
Yeah.
And people sort of get upset at that punk's becoming mainstream. Like, The Clash and the Sex Pistols or whatever are now heralded by BBC and mainstream media as huge artists that can own their pop shops or whatever and sell out arenas, and that wasn't very punk.
Right.
So then you got a lot of pissed off Americans who took punk and made it faster, more aggressive, and started really screaming over it.
Yeah.
And that's where we get bands like Black Flag or Dead Kennedys or whatnot. And that's mother heckin' hardcore.
Yeah. But that's not metal though.
No, it's very different.
We gotta clarify that. We're not ending on that. That is, yeah, no. Hardcore.
Well,
hardcore.
At the end of the day, if you're looking at something like metalcore or deathcore, you have to sort of look at which side it takes more from, because metalcore is a combination of metal and hardcore. Hence the name, metallic hardcore or metalcore.
Yep.
Right. And metalcore, it's as a whole, it's definitely more punk leaning. But now we have to talk about how thrash sort of becomes punk.
Well, yeah, because I mean, now you have crossover thrash, which is just punk. So
all right. So to get a timeline, Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and all the hardcore bands really blowing up in the early to mid 80s, right?
Yeah.
As a direct response to the commercialization of punk. Well, let's look at what metal was doing over the 70s, right?
Metal was just being trad doom, dude. That's all.
Well, actually. So metal starts off as doom metal with Black Sabbath, or heavy metal, which is also a lot of Black Sabbath. Heavy metal is just doom metal, except a little bit quicker.
Yep.
More focus on guitar leads, choruses, whatnot. And then at one point we start to get a progressive metal, which I'd say early prog metals early Rush, mid-period King Crimson could qualify as progressive metal, just because it's basically all prog rock except with harsher guitar tones.
I think prog metal in particular is a very outsider because it doesn't really you can't really say sure, you can say it evolves from Black Sabbath, but wow, does it take just from prog rock so much more? And just turns up the distortion in the
so that's kind of a weird case. But at the same time, we also have the new wave of British heavy metal, which sort of begins in the late 70s with I'm sorry I'm naming all the biggest bands from these, but
that's what it is though.
Saxon, early Maiden,
even
bands that.
Even King Diamond and
Judas Scorpions, Priest. Deep Purple. They're sort of those bands sort of paving the way. New wave of British heavy metal was a heavy metal movement, obviously from Britain, and it took what we'd known as heavy metal in America and dialed it up a little more faster.
Yeah, just faster.
More aggressive, more faster, Jesus.
More
faster. It's like a Trump campaign ad. Faster, more aggressive. You got not screams but wails.
Yeah, wails.
And it's cool. And when you think like classic heavy metal, like when you think like the dude in like a sick ass leather jacket holding a high note for like 30 seconds as guitars do.
It's literally just Bruce Dickinson. Like if you take Iron Maiden, you describe new wave British heavy metal pretty perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I think so.
Oh gosh.
But then people.
Well, then we have speed metal.
Okay, but all right. Hold on. I don't even know. Do we take speed and thrash together? Because I think that the next...
They're very different.
Yeah, I know they're very different, but, like...
Well, no, so we gotta talk about speed metal before we can talk about thrash metal.
Alright. Fine.
Gosh, this is gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be a long night, yeah.
So speed metal, right? You take new wave British heavy metal...
Faster!
Well, you go faster. You throw in punk elements.
Yeah.
And you start sort of rasping on the mic, you know?
Yeah.
Like, think Motorhead. Motorhead's really the only huge speed metal band because it wasn't a very long-lived trend.
No.
But you got to focus on guitar leads. It's fast as heck. Has a punk rock attitude and punk rock ethos, right?
Yeah. At least it was. I'd say speed metal's changed to be something very different.
Yeah. And then at the same time, you have like Trad Doom, which is just taking the first Black Sabbath song and doing that over and over again.
Yes. Oh my god.
But that's sort of unconnected. But it's important to recognize that, right?
Yeah.
So from speed metal, we have a bunch of important distinctions. But arguably the most important to arise from that is thrash metal. Thrash metal sees speed metal. It's like, oh wow, it's aggressive, it's heavy. What if we make it not only heavier, but we also throw even more punk ethos in the mix?
Yeah, you gotta get angry.
You gotta get angry,
and then you start.
You gotta rip.
Yeah, but then you start talking about real metal lyrics too. Like that's when like singing about death and like wanting to die and all that becomes big. Because, like, I don't know, I look to, like, obviously the first Metallica album is pretty generally considered one of the I guess, founding thrash metal albums of that time. And, like, I don't know, those lyrics on that are pretty brutal, dude. Kill them all! That's the name of the fucking album, you know? So, I don't know. I think that was a little switch was turned.
Well, yeah, no, it's definitely like sort of leaning into the inherent nihilism of the punk ethos and whatnot, okay. And sort of because metal's always been. This is another great episode topic. Metal's always been fascinated with fantasy imagery for a lot of reasons, but it's sort of combining the like edgy fantasy imagery with like the nihilism of modern punk.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we got thrash, and everyone knows thrash metal, the Metallica, the Slayer, the Death of Mega, the freaking Anthrax, Testament. Like we all know it. If you're listening to this podcast because you like metal, chances are you got into metal with thrash metal.
Yeah.
Like
probably.
Personally, I'm a normie. Metallica are the best of the big four. Changed my mind.
I don't think you can really do it. Well, all right. Well, hold on. Sorry, brief excursion. Are Metallica the best, or are those 4 albums the best? Ooh.
Okay, well that's an important distinction. But if we're looking at just the breadth of the career, none of those bands have good discographies.
No, they don't.
Testament has the best discography, and they're not part of the big four.
I'd say that or Anthrax, probably.
Well, dude, Anthrax is like mid-90s, early 2000s period shit.
Well, yeah, but they're coming back. They're making all right.
Yeah, but Anthrax have always been cool, don't get me wrong. But all right, we're not having this debate. This is another debate where we hit up my 2 friends that actually like thrash metal, which is gross, by the way. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
But anywho, so with thrash metal, right?
Yep.
It's important to note that it sort of runs parallel to hardcore. Right when thrash is becoming a thing, you got hardcore also becoming a thing, and we see the omnipresent Nietzschean dichotomy of the punks and the metalheads.
Of course. Written for the ages, okay?
Yeah, and and this is the point in history, the mid 80s, where these two genres are separate.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point they splinter pretty bad, though.
Yeah, because after thrash metal, like it gets from thrash metal, you can trace a pretty straightforward path to basically every other subgenre of metal.
I would agree with that pretty clearly. Because
and then
we're not.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
we're doing good, so.
And then metalcore is just distinct, or well, I guess hardcore at this time is a distinctly different thing. And then in the early 90s, metalcore happens.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. I don't know my metalcore history, which is bad, but, like, we should.
Yeah, we really should. Well, we're not really punk kids. Like, you know, Adam hates post-hardcore. And deathcore.
I don't hate post-hardcore. And deathcore... See, that's interesting, though, that you mentioned deathcore, because a lot of people would consider deathcore metal.
So that...
Cause,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, because deathcore is on Metalum.
Well, really?
I mean, some. Fucking Veil of Maya is on goddamn Metalum.
So deathcore is a case-by-case basis. Adam, fill some time, because I have to grab a drink.
But I would agree... Okay, I agree, though, that fucking... Metalcore deserves to be a case-by-case basis, too. He's gonna need to hear all this when he gets back, but... I don't know. Metalcore is... And deathcore should be case-by-case, and I don't think it should be mutually exclusive. Metalcore should be a case-by-case basis, too, by the way.
Alright, whatever you just said, sure.
I literally just said that, repeated that over and over, because I think it's true. I don't think you can be picky or choosy with it. Like, you can't be...
Oh, I fully agree.
Mutually exclusive. Because, like...
Well...
I don't know. Converge? Like... Converge is a whole different fucking story, but, like... Converge-based metalcore, for the most part, I think, is more metal-leaning than it is punk.
Well, so... We gotta talk about where the two separate paths converge, if you will.
Nah, we need to talk about that too.
So, well, early 90s, basically, a lot of the hardcore kids that were like 15 or whatever and really into these punk records were also, you know, hearing metal because it was more mainstream than ever. And they were like, hey, what if we took punk, which was typically known for like specific things, and merged it with some more of the outright aggression of metal? And then on one extreme, you have like grindcore, which is like as balls to the walls as possible.
I think you gotta get death metal before you get grindcore, though. Because death metal is just grindcore is just death metal sped up like 200%, and you can't even tell me that's not true.
All right, fine.
Death metal comes from thrash metal. That's pretty clear. It doesn't get much more direct than that.
Yeah, literally, Mantis records their demo, and Chuck's like, what if we made it heavier? And then it's just screaming over thrash metal with faster and like slightly gainier tones, and more focus on double bass work than skank beats. By the way, dude, I re-listened to like 2 Death albums today.
No, it's funny because they're like, you pinnacle them and they're like, oh yeah, Death is huge. It's just gonna be like what every normal modern death metal album is that like people love, right? No. Yeah, no.
Like Death the band is really just aggressive thrash until like their later period. That's another topic. Jesus Christ. Anywho, what I was talking about, metalcore is literally just metal, or just literally just punk with metal influence, and this manifests in a few ways. First things first. A lot more low growls and high pitched shrieks, because typically a lot of punk bands
just shouting
they have the shout. They have like the touche more like I'll be your god, where it's like you're just talking but with distortion, right?
Yeah.
And you know, metal traditionally after a certain point has their low growls or their high growls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and metalcore like to incorporate those elements. They also like to incorporate the breakdown. So I don't know who invented the breakdown, but
who invented the breakdown?
Google's it.
No, literally, I'm gonna.
But it's really sort of came to prominence in the early 90s in the metalcore scene. You have these bands that would just basically write a song, and then the last like half of the song would slow down as slow as possible, and just have like bare instrumentals, bare guitars, bare drums, and the singer shouting something like "Let's fucking kill each other," and then going into a mosh part, if you will.
The internet credits a lot of people, but the one that I found the most coherent response is that Minor Threat started using breakdowns in the late 70s.
What?
But they would credit the popularization of breakdowns to, like, Pantera and Slayer. Because, like...
Yeah, no, I see that.
Because, like, I don't know. Have you heard Domination? I've heard Domination.
I've
heard Domination.
Be driven. God damn it.
No. But yeah.
Yeah, and then this is so in the early 90s you got like metalcore, and then keeps on going. You got mathcore, which is like weirder metalcore. And then the 2000s hit, and at this point the genre barriers just sort of stop mattering.
Yeah, because you're just metal. Or metalcore.
Yeah, you're
metal or you're metalcore. I don't.
Because, like, well, a band like Pantera have a shit ton of punk influence.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, like a band like Suicidal Tendencies, crossover thrash, who were also huge at that time and, still pretty big, are basically 50-50.
Yeah.
And, there's just, with the age of the dawn of the internet, people just stopped caring less and less about, like, the breakdown between genres. You have, like, Brutal Death and Slam, which are metal with a lot of punk, or you have, like, intense metalcore, or, like, Screamo, which are distinctly punk, but they borrow a lot from metal.
I think that crossover thrash is a big one. Because
I think crossover is 50-50. I think it's one of the few 50-50ers.
Yeah, true. But yeah, no, even like we can talk about now black gaze, because black gaze takes a ton from shoegaze and metal, but is that considered is that metal? Is black gaze metal?
As a whole, yeah, but as we've said, I think, and like the thesis here is, it really is if you want to be autistic as shit, it's a case by case basis.
Well, I also think that. I do think that the distorted guitar is important. It's a really important bass line. Now, at the same time, is there not exceptions to every rule? I'd say so. I think Botanist is pretty fucking metal, but...
Oh, totally.
But they don't use distorted electric guitar. And
well, then we're going to talk about why Metalum isn't the best source for if a band's metal or not.
I would agree that it, but at the same time, there is something that they have there because they're holding up a modicum of order rather than having it just be a free for all. I always go to Metalum first.
No, I agree. Well, I think a great example of this is BT Bam, because BT Bam's early stuff is like progressive mathcore / deathcore.
Yeah.
Their mid period is progressive mathcore, right? And then their later stuff is just prog metal.
Yeah.
And all of those could be on Metalum, but I think specifically the latter stuff, the prog metal, should be on metalcore. It's distinctly metal in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but there's breakdowns, so it ain't metal. I would also, if you're being like, if you're gonna go to a death thrash show and you got a bunch of 40-year-olds wearing battle vests and stuff like that, and you ask them what's metal, the answer is generally gonna be like distorted electric guitar, no breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Slayer has breakdown.
Well, I know. Well, see, this is why it's messy. This is why it's not clear. Because...
Or like Nails is another band. Like Nails is probably like in death metal influenced power violence, right?
Well, I would agree, but now take this: Nails and Full of Hell are on Metalum from their most recent albums.
Wait, Nails is on Metal?
Nails is on Metalum because of
Look, dude, you'll never
be one of us. That that put them on Metalum.
Gosh, Nails slap.
Which is interesting because I don't think that's a metal album in the slightest.
Oh, I think it is.
I don't know. I feel like it's a little too hardcore.
Well, it has a lot of hardcore influence, but it's pretty metal-y.
I don't know. That's... Alright.
Well,
regardless, metal's messy. And I think taking everything by case basis is extremely important.
I feel you.
And that is...
Well, we haven't even talked about, like, is post-hardcore metal? Is mathcore metal?
Alright, post-hardcore...
melodic metalcore metal?
Post-hardcore is not metal. Melodic metalcore is not metal. And, what was the other one you mentioned?
Mathcore.
See, that's also interesting. Because if you take, like, Car Bomb, I don't think Car Bomb's metal. Because I think Car Bomb fits more into Gent, and we've already been over that Gent isn't really metal. It's kind of metal, but not really. But Gent is its own thing. Gent is its own little bubble here. It falls in a weird place.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Car Bomb's generally more punk, but they have a ton of metal.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Like, is Meshuggah metal?
Metalum would say so because of their first album.
I think Meshuggah's pretty dang metal.
I think Meshuggah's pretty dang metal too, but that's going to say then that like Meshuggah based Gent is metal.
Well, so with Meshuggah you can trace it back to Black Sabbath, right?
I think so, yeah.
The more like metalcore and pop influence you throw into Gent, the less you can trace it to Black Sabbath.
Absolutely.
So like for example, a song like Blood Eagle, right, by the Riffery, that's a metal song, right?
Yeah.
But a song like It's Only Smiles,
no.
I don't know why I chose those examples, but
because they're on the new album.
New album.
Last year,
not even new at this point.
Number 10 of our year last year, I think, right?
It was like number 23.
No, it was way higher than that.
No, it was it's like 22.
Good album. Anyway, no,
a soul descending swiftly.
But all right, back to mathcore. Jesus, I don't know because like we came as Romans and like early Dillinger. Not early. I can't say that. I can't make the claim for early Dillinger. That's too punk. But we fucking Botch. And, like, Jesus Christ. Botch, alright? Botch. I think Botch should be considered metal.
Why?
Because, I don't know, We Came as Romans and American Nervosa both are wicked heavy, use distorted guitars, there's a very limited amount of, I guess, clean vocal or not, traditional metal instrumentation. And the only thing is it's a little thumpy and it has breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I mean, if you want to like even further trivialize this distinction, look at like modern hardcore bands like Jesus Piece.
Oh, seriously.
Or like Code Orange even, because these bands are definitely metalcore or hardcore, but you listen to that shit and it's death metal riffs with growling on top of them. And it's like Knocked Loose. Like Knocked Loose is definitely metalcore, but holy shit, the genre lines are just non-existent at this point. Like every hardcore band ever has like black metal influence. That's pretty clear. Like Amygdala has freaking black metal. No,
seriously,
lines.
It's crazy how much like blackened punk out there exists. The genres just fit perfectly together. I mean, fucking black metal.
Yeah, it's aggressive guitar music.
Yeah,
and it just so happens that all the young kids, all the kids nowadays, are also listening to like Cannibal Corpse when they grow up and learn to play guitars, and they're gonna emulate that.
Now I have a question that's going to throw this whole thing for a loop. We're going to change subject completely. How drone does drone have to be to stay metal?
Oh god.
How
shit.
slow can we get without just going into ambient and drone and noise?
Oh god. Oh jeez.
Because, like, look.
Well, no. So we gotta preface this. So me and Adam, we love noise, right? We make noise music. If you look at our year-end list, we've had noise albums at the top.
Well, twice, 2 years in a row, we've had noise rock albums at the top of our list,
which is kind of funny. Like we go bananas for noise.
Yeah.
But is noise metal? And when does noise become metal?
I don't think noise is metal, but I think that can be very easily incorporated into metal. Particularly, like, the general just description of, like, I would consider, like, White Swans is a really good picture in my brain of noise. Of just noise. Because it's noise. That's what it is. It's white noise with,
it's just noise.
With a baby bit of melody on top of it. Like, that's what it is. And I don't know, when a band like Primitive Man incorporates noise into their sound pretty easily by just sticking a layer of horrible fuzz and synth.
Oh yeah, or like Indian.
Yeah, like that's...
Or like King Mantis.
Yeah, that's clearly metal. But like...
Yeah, it's metal with like a veneer of noise.
But is something... Alright, is Sun metal? Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it because it's using guitars to make that sound?
So, with Sun specifically, the justification for why like thrash metal is metal or like new wave of British heavy metal is because it's Sabbath sped up, right?
Right.
With Sun specifically, it's Sabbath without drums and slowed down. Because if you want to watch like videos of Greg and Steve playing these songs live, they're just playing Sabbath riffs. Like, these guys are just huge Sabbath heads that literally thought they got really high and they were like, what if we slow down Black Sabbath
Right.
to retarded speeds?
Yeah.
By the way, I don't mean to offend anyone using that word. Just want to make it clear. To ridiculous speeds.
You said it. Like, you have to go back and edit that? Or we keep
I immediately clarified myself.
Yeah, alright.
But yeah, then that's why it's metal. Like something like Undergreen Suns,
Jesus.
that's contentious.
Jesus Christ, that was bad.
But Sun is definitely metal because it's specifically Sabbath-like riffs slowed down.
Okay, well, what about Jesu? Is Jesu metal? Because they have a lot of shoegaze influence in their sound too.
So, this is where it gets tough. I'd say Jesu probably isn't metal.
Okay. See, that's interesting because Metalum would not agree with you.
Wait, Jesu are on Metalum?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because they're on metal. They're classified as drone doom, metal, / post-rock / shoegaze.
Well, at that point, it's like, oh, are Godspeed You metal because they have drone?
Well, but I think drone metal is a very different thing than just drone.
Well, like, name. Well, the Body are metal, right? Are they on Metalum?
I think the Body is on Metalum because they the Body is like Boris though, because they just have done so much. Like, you can't really classify the Body as one thing because they're noise, they're drone, they're doom, they're blah blah blah, they're everything, sludge, whatever. Yeah, I don't think that you can really qualify the Body as a good. But like, what about Earth? Ooh.
Earth are metal.
Earth are metal. Now, why would you say?
Or at least
Earth?
their early stuff is. Well, because it's the same argument with Sun. It's guitar riffs slowed way down.
Okay. All right.
And their mid-period and later stuff isn't metal, but that's besides the point.
Sure. All right. The only other band that I can really think of that like really qualifies this is like Naja. Oh no, I have another one. Bolt Gun.
What's Naja?
They're a band. They're a drone metal band. They're from Canada. They're from Canada. Anyway, no. What about like? Shit. What did I just say? Fuck. Shit. Bolt Gun. Have you heard of Bolt Gun? They came out with an album this year and last year.
No.
Okay, it's like they did a split with Uboa a few years ago, and it's like post doom metal.
So when you say post doom, do you mean like ISIS?
It's like, well, no, it's just post metal with like a huge emphasis on ambient. Now,
gotcha.
they're
like planning for burial.
No, like it's like post metal slowed down to a fucking rabbit's pace or tortoise's pace, not a rabbit's pace, a tortoise's pace. But it's not a metal one.
Gotcha.
I don't know. By the way, check out their new album, Begotten. It came out in April. It's okay. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
So is a band like Daughters metal?
Well, okay, hold on. We can talk about their first album. We can talk about Canada Songs, because that's mathcore.
Someone I know thinks Canada Songs is the best Daughters album.
That's just wrong. It's just wrong.
That's a Galaxy Brain take right there.
That's not a take that I find acceptable.
No, the Galaxy Brain take here is Hell Songs is the best Daughters album.
Hell Songs is my number 2, probably. It bounces. It switches.
Honestly, they're all great. New Daughters album, very excited. But yeah, so our Daughters metal?
No.
Why not?
Well, if you define mathcore as metal, then the first Daughters album's metal. But I don't think that anything after that is metal. It's too weird. It's too noise rock. I mean, it's just too.
I think with stuff like Daughters or like Austerity Program, if you can trace it back to Sonic Youth specifically, then it's noise rock.
Yeah. Over
metal. But I don't know. I'm a big fan of like being able to draw lines between bands because it just gets so messy. Like a lot of people are like, "Is Deaf Heaven metal?"
Deaf Heaven is definitely metal, by the way.
Yeah, Deaf Heaven's... I mean, I think we talked about this in the first one. But yeah, Deaf Heaven is so unbelievably metal. Like, it's literally black metal with, like, shoegaze parts. Like, yeah. What more could you want?
Yeah, no, that is what it is, because I don't know.
Well, I think, like, a lot of bands, like Deaf Heaven and like, Liturgy are super, super metal. They just don't use traditional metal aesthetics.
Yeah, and that's fine. You're just doing something.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of non-metal artists that do use metal aesthetics, like Ghostman.
Go listen to our last podcast if you want to hear all about that. Wow.
Yeah. I think another one that people... Yeah, deathcore, like we said earlier, because deathcore is a really bizarre thing, because it really started out, like a bunch of kids from a punk scene just wanting to make aggressive-ass heavy music. Mm-hmm. And the way it sort of manifested was just really over-the-top metalcore.
Sure.
With a lot of death metal influence.
Well, what about, like, modern deathcore?
Yeah, well, I think modern deathcore is literally just metal. Like, the further you get along in, like, the deathcore life cycle, the more it's just, like, virtuosos making heavy music, and the heavy music they listen to is just metal, so...
True.
Like, a band like, I don't know, Slaughter to Prevail, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, that. Listen to that and tell me it's not metal.
Sure. All right, what about...
It just has breakdowns.
The term... I've seen on Metalum a few times that the term technical metalcore is an acceptable descriptor of a metal album. Like, for example, Veil of Maya now is considered gent and technical metalcore.
Well, so is that like gen? Or like, what's is that like sixth?
Well, I don't know, because if that's what we're going with, Sixth should absolutely be on Metalum. They're not.
God bless Sixth's heart.
Sixth is not metal, by the way. No.
Sixth is definitely not metal.
Yeah, no. They're a whole other thing. But yeah, I don't know. Because, like, Slam is on Metalum.
Well, Slam, at the end of the day, is just really dirty punk-influenced metal.
True. To an extent.
Gosh, every time I hear the word Slam, I'm like, I gotta listen to more Slam.
No, you don't. Don't.
Ooga Ooga Album of the Year. When's the Ooga Ooga review, Adam?
Dude, the Ooga... I will not review Ooga Ooga, because it's not our best albums of the year already, okay?
It's number 3.
It's number 3.
Watch out, Take a Chance on Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
I opened the gate.
By the way, is that metal? Ooh, good topic.
So Couch Sludge specifically is a weird case because it's like half sludge, half noise rock.
Yeah.
And sludge metal.
Well, they also have hardcore punk too.
Really? Oh, gosh.
Are you? What do you mean? What do you mean? Of course they do.
No, obvious. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But sludge metal is also a weird case because sludge comes out of the punk scene because sludge metal is hardcore punk mixed with doom metal.
Which is, by the way, a very weird genre then.
Yeah, and it's funny because most sludge sounds the same. But sludge is definitely metal.
I would agree.
Like, I hate God. I'm just saying.
That was a good one.
Well, like, yeah, like all the first wave of sludge bands are definitely metal.
It's
I
hard.
I don't think Couch Sludge's metal. It's definitely metal adjacent though, just because it's not enough. Like of the equation, if it's a trifecta of noise rock, hardcore, and sludge, it's not enough sludge for it to be metal.
Yeah, okay.
But that being said, Couch Sludge, if you look at every bill they've ever played, it's like them and 3 metal bands.
Right.
And then that's a question: is a band metal by association? Like, is a band like ghost metal because they've only ever toured with metal bands?
Well, Astronaut wasn't metal for a long time. People didn't know how to call that one. And by the way, that's something I wanted to talk about. Is I don't think that the Astronaut tag that is generally attributed to them is correct, and I don't know if Astronaut is metal. At least that first album.
Dude, that first album's metal.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Because, like, it's so sonically different. Even if there's blast beats, even if it's guitar-based, like, it's just such an ethereal...
So...
Listen.
Let me tie Astronaut back to Black Sabbath for you real quick.
Please.
So Astronaut is literally just Vatnet with clean vocals and more shoegaze.
No! Don't say that!
And Vatnet is definitely metal.
I don't know if some people would argue that too. You in fact told me that...
Okay, well, like, the last Vatnet album is not metal. That's just like a pop album.
Alright, that's true.
But the early Vatnet, like the Vatnet Vishkar, by the way, the only New Hampshire metal band anyone's ever heard of, Rep. They're post-black.
They are.
And you can very easily trace post-black back to Black Sabbath. And so for that reason, Astronaut are metal.
By the way...
Their second album is not metal.
What? You mean their last album? Settler is absolutely metal.
I said Astronaut.
Oh, Astronaut. You think their second album's not metal?
No, that second album's shoegaze.
Really? That's intriguing to me. Because I felt that like that was a lot clearer in its head
before
was pretty metal to me. It's a very interesting sped up post metal, but I don't know. I thought it was metal.
Well, all right. I'm gonna hit you with something.
Also, by the way, sorry to interrupt. All the Astronaut albums are free on Bandcamp, which I didn't know about.
Yeah, on Blood Music. Check them out. They're good.
They're really good. Also, new Rate Your Music update looks really nice.
Oh, really? Now I gotta check.
New Rate Your Music update looks really nice. They also changed the chart system.
Oh, it does look different.
Fiona Apple is no longer #1 of the year, but that's a combo for a different time.
Oh, Adam, visions of bodies being burned isn't as good as their existed addiction to blood.
I still kind of agree.
Last name.
I still kind of agree with that.
Look what is #2 album in the year.
Take everything with a grain of salt, Sam. We literally had a podcast describing why we should take Rate Your Music with a grain of salt.
Anywho, what was I even gonna say? We were talking about Astronaut.
Yes, Astronaut.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask: is Contortionist metal?
No.
New Age Contortionist.
I'd love to say yes, but if I'm holding the truth that Astronaut isn't metal, then no, I can't claim that the Contortionist is either. Because, well, you wouldn't say that Astronaut's progressive metal either.
No, they're definitely not prog.
But Contortionist is. If you're gonna assume the Contortionist is metal, then their new stuff is
okay.
definitely
Well,
Prog.
So, is late era Opeth metal?
No. It's distinctly prog rock.
Exactly. Well, okay, look. So early Contortionist, right, is tech deathcore. Or it's it's prog deathcore.
Yes.
And generally speaking, deathcore is more metal than punk.
Mm-hmm. But guess what? They're not a metal.
Yeah, well, that's because metal sucks. But so those first two albums are progressive deathcore, right?
Yes.
Then they sort of become like post-rock / prog metal / alt rock, right? And then at some point, though, that overtakes the metal influence, so they're no longer metal. Are Deftones metal?
No. Well, if you qualify alt metal as metal, then yeah, but I don't consider alt metal metal.
Are Primus metal?
No. Primus is not metal. Tool is not
Primus
metal.
is totally metal.
No! Primus is not metal. Tool is not metal. Deftones are not metal. None of that's metal. Actually,
I'd say it's metal.
I'm curious if Primus is on a metal one. They might be.
I don't think they are.
They're not.
I think Primus is funk metal. I think Tool is alt prog metal.
No, I will not agree that no. Funk metal is not a real genre.
There are enough funk metal bands that's a real genre.
I do not know. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Oh, is Rage Against the Machine metal? No.
Well, so
it's not. It's not metal. It's not.
Are Perfect Circle metal?
No, it's alt metal.
God damn it.
It's trap metal. No!
Or Sod metal. Or System of a Down metal.
No, they're alt metal. They're metal adjacent.
I would say that a lot. So, I think the definitions of metal changed in the 90s.
Yeah, I fucking agree, because new metal sure as shit ain't metal.
Yeah, it's literally not metal.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah, I know. It's not metal. It's not metal.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can honestly see the argument that new metal's metal. I know a lot of trads, metal fans hate that, but come on.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like opening the bounds of the genre that big, but at the same time, the genre's so big anyway.
Yeah, right. Like if we want to call something like, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of a weird example. Gosh,
I don't know.
what's
what about Ooh?
Yeah, is Igor metal?
Igor, no, Igor's definitely not metal.
Well, I think at the end of the day, if the metal side of whatever music is stronger than the other sides, or equally strong, it'd be metal. I think if it's less strong than the other parts of the influence, then it's not metal. Like something like we used the Contortionist earlier. Let's use Clairvoyant as an example. Sure, Clairvoyant has clear metal influence, but the post-rock, the alt-rock, the prog influence outweighs the metal part of that.
Okay, how about Sermon?
I'd say Sermon's alt metal.
They would also claim to be alt metal, but I would claim them to be prog metal.
Well, alt prog, dude.
No.
By the way, actually, I played The Preacher yesterday. Holy heck, dude, that album slaps.
Yeah, there's a reason that album's like number 4 on our list last year. That album is
Children of Sin.
That album is grossly good.
Yeah, honestly, like, just looking through, I don't know why I brought it up, but I pulled up our list from last year. Wow, I wish I listened to any of these albums still, because they're all so good.
I know. Every time I, like, throw on that Weeping Sores album, I'm like, Doug, please. Bro. I'm sorry. I don't know who hurt you, but I'm sorry.
Dude, we gotta get Doug on the podcast.
Dude, he may do it. Dude, we can do a review of the new, what the fuck is it?
The new, like, brutal death metal supergroup.
It's. I think it's just OSTN, but yeah, that's cool. Anyway,
wait, what were we saying before we joked about
alt metal's not metal?
So alt metal's once again, I think alt metal's metal.
No, I will not concede to this. I will not yield to this because if you're considering alt metal, then you can say right now that Red Hot Chili Peppers are a metal band. If you want to make that claim, then I will agree that if you want to go on record on the podcast and say that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are metal or have metal If they are like have one metal album or at least one metal song, like
Judge, I'm getting ad hoc.
You can admit that funk metal and alt metal by association is metal.
Okay. Hear me out. The Red Hot Chili Peppers have a metal album.
Okay, all right. He made the claim.
Okay, so with a band like Tool, the reason why they're metal is because you can really easily trace Opiate and Undertow and Anima.
That's fine. That I will accept that.
But also, hear me out. You can trace their later work back to Red Era King Crimson.
Yeah, but that's rock.
I'd say that's early prog metal.
It's rock.
I'd say it's early prog metal.
Well, that's this is semantics now, so that's fine.
I'd say Rush. I'd say 2112 is a prog metal album.
I might agree with you.
So if you just haven't listened to Red by King Crimson, but dude, listen to that album and then listen to Lateralis and tell me you don't hear everything from that album on like mid-period Tool.
Yes. Okay, fair enough. What Red Hot Chili Peppers album is metal, by the way?
It's their second one. I gotta look it up.
I don't know if you're right.
Well, okay. So, would you consider Jane's Addiction metal?
No. I actually wouldn't. Would you? Because would you consider Faith No More metal?
Yes.
No. No way.
No, okay. So, Faith No More is a bizarre case, but at the end of the day, I would say they're a metal band.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far. What about 311?
Okay, 311, there's no way.
Look, man, if you're throwing funk metal in there, they got a little funk influence in their sound.
Gosh, I'm trying to find... Why do Chili's have so many albums? Jesus Christ.
They don't have that many. They have like 10.
Yeah, well, that's more than they deserved. Yeah, dude. I'm ashamed to say this, but the Uplift Mofo Party Plan is a metal album.
I gotta be honest. I've never heard the Uplift Mofo Party Plan. I don't know what it sounds like. I can only imagine the monstrosity that is that album.
Down California.
So
I was smoking on a sack.
I don't know. I don't know.
God damn, does anyone still have that Vocaroo link of the Red Hot Chili Peppers parody song?
Stop! I do not have the Vocaroo link of the Mike Patton fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers song. Oh no, it's not the Mike Patton. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the parody. Yeah. Anywho. So with a band like Primus, I could honestly make the argument. I think I'm not a big enough Primus fan, but that like early stuff has definitive metal influence.
Sure, it has metal influence. We're going back to our last week conversation. Was it last week? I don't even remember. Last week conversation where we talked about trap metal.
Trap metal is not metal because it's more trap than metal.
Yes, but it has distinct metal influence, which Primus also does.
Well, I think at least for the early Primus albums, you could say they're more metal than anything else.
I don't even know. We listened to Sailing the Seas of Cheese together, and I don't know. I did not think that was a metal album.
Well, it's distorted guitars.
Oh boy, here we go. I really don't know. I don't know about Primus. I don't know.
Well, I think Primus trace a line back to Sabbath a lot easier than some other bands.
Maybe.
Because I think Primus, you can also do the cop out where you trace them back to like early prog metal.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how far I'd go with that. I don't know.
Well, then this is see on that same line is Haken metal? Is Dream Theater metal?
Yes, those are very much metal.
So what makes them metal?
Because it's just prog rock with heavy. That's it. It's prog rock with distortion. But Primus is not just that. Primus is taking punk rock and jazz and weird bullshit and throwing it with a distorted guitar and fucking Les Claypool bass.
Well, if you want to be really annoying, I'd argue that the combined metal influence and prog influence adds up to more than the other influences.
I think this is a conversation that is out of our understanding.
Yeah, no, this is for lack of a better term, an incredibly dumb conversation.
Yes,
at this point,
because I don't know my premise. I know.
I mean, I look at the end of the day, if something's if you want to find out if something's metal or not, ask yourself this simple question: can it be traced back to Black Flag, or can it be traced back to Black Sabbath?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, or if you want to get really annoying, like, for example, what's if it can be traced back to My Bloody Valentine or Explosions in the Sky? It's probably not. It's probably not metal.
Explosions in the Sky. You're jumping way too far ahead.
Well, when I think of like the second wave of post rock, that's the band I think of.
I mean, yeah, but.
And like, there's some bands that are metal adjacent that can be traced close more to Explosions. Or Meth Metal.
Not if mathcore is not metal. So that's mathcore. I
will say Meth definitely has more metal influence than a lot of mathcore bands, but
yeah.
Meth slap, by the way. Holy heck! I wish I could see them live.
Fucking dude, yeah, dude. That album is just gross. Underrated, by the way, on this podcast, on this fucking, just on this fucking platform. I rated it like a 3, basically, out of 5, and I think it's.
I'd say it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. We're talking about Mother of Red Light.
I wish I could do those screams. Holy heck!
Yeah, I don't know, because there's definitely some screamo influence there, as well as some noisecore.
So is Orchid metal?
No, Orchid is not metal. I would not consider emo violence metal.
I wouldn't either. I don't know.
Although I would say, like, Orchid's fucking heavy, and someone like who listens to Chaos Is Me or Dance the Night Revolution Tomorrow is like, those are heavy fucking albums, heavier than a lot of what is in the metal subgenre. Yeah.
But heaviness isn't necessarily a good... Like, a band like Cleric, I don't know if we could call them metal.
I don't know. They could be considered avant-garde metal.
Exactly. Well, avant-garde metal really... There's, like, avant-garde metal, you could say, oh, do you know what's avant-garde metal? Clipping. Like...
No, I disagree.
Well, I know. I don't think clipping's avant-garde metal, but avant-garde metal opens up a lot of really dumb lanes of argumentation.
Okay, well, what about Bungle?
Bungle are definitely metal.
But they're definitely avant-garde metal. At least their later stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, look, you could say an avant-garde metal album is like a dude doing like free improvisation on a guitar while a second guitar plays an incredibly slow Sabbath riff on a guitar, and that's avant-garde metal.
Is Neptunian Maximalism a metal album?
So, Neptunian Maximalism is a very odd case. I think I'd argue that Neptunian Maximalism is equal parts drone metal, avant-garde metal, and equal parts jazz.
All right. Fair.
Another band would be like, oh gosh, I have them saved somewhere. Please don't fail me. Oh no, I didn't save it.
Oh.
Oh no. Well, like, for example, what's it called? John Zorn's Midnight City. I think that's a metal album.
Okay.
I think if something is basically equal parts metal and equal parts something else, it's metal. Like crossover thrash. Or sludge.
Okay. Although I would say that for the most part, sludge is generally more metal leaning.
For the most part?
I would say for the most part. Yeah, I don't know. So
I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good conclusion.
Well, is there anything we didn't touch? I guess we didn't really touch. What does noise trace back to? What does noise have to trace back to?
So noise trace back to I'd argue you can get really annoying and say, oh, if it doesn't trace back to a Velvet Underground, it's not noise. I'd argue that noise has to trace back to. So noise is a really bizarre genre because there are so many different schools of thought. I'd argue if something like noise rock specifically goes back to Sonic Youth. If you want to say like noise tinge industrial, take it back to Einstürzende. If you want to say like power electronics, I don't know. I think noise as a whole doesn't really have like a big bang band the way that other genres do.
Sure.
But it's more of a case-by-case basis. But noise is definitely a different thing than metal. It's also a different thing than punk.
Oh, yeah. Is that the trifecta? Is that the heavy music triangle?
Well, I mean, dude, there's some effing heavy electronic music, and we don't really consider that.
That's true. I mean, I guess that's kind of where Norse falls into too. Is just a subgenre of electronic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd say it's definitely like metal and punk, and then like much lesser so, just because there's virtually zero commercial viability as noise, or like I don't know, throbbing gristle. Like
I don't know, man. Could be. Well, yeah, I don't know.
So now I'm gonna ask the basest of all questions: are any of the new Swans albums actually noise albums?
What do you mean? No, probably not. I mean, To Be Kind is noise rock, but I think the Seer and
I See It All, I See It All, I See It All,
and the Glowing Man are just kind of post rock albums.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then Leaving Meaning is just like this bastard child of
all
everything.
Three. No, I mean, it's just, it's a bastard child of all three of those.
Either way, Leaving Meaning, underrated.
No, well, I mean, I actually had a conversation with my friend about this. Leaving Meaning is just the trilogy condensed into, like, 90 minutes. And, like, It's hard to really... When it's been so fully developed in one setting over a 6-hour period, it's hard to scrunch it down. And that's why I think that Leaving Meaning feels a little bloated, even for its shorter runtime than all three of those albums. That's also a different topic. Swans is not metal. Ever. I would say.
You could you could argue that early Swans laid the groundwork for sludge metal.
Okay, well, is no wave metal?
Well, no wave isn't really a genre qualifier, it's a scene.
That's true. Well, you're kind of right, but I don't know.
Well,
that's a Swans topic.
Yeah, well, when we think no wave, we think cop era Swans, right?
Well, that's what... No, because I've heard no wave, and it can be avant-garde jazz, it can be punk, it can be...
It can be spoken word.
Yeah. No wave is something completely different. Yeah. But no, I would agree with you that early Swans influenced some sludge metal, but I would not call it metal.
No, I wouldn't either.
Anyway.
Flex your muscles.
Flex your muscles. Shit, I don't know. I think that's most of the topics.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that just about covers it. If it goes back to Sabbath,
it's metal.
It metal. If it go back to Flag of Black, it punk.
And
if it a mix of about metal and anything else, it's metal. And
also, if you don't use a guitar, like the internet might not call you metal, but you're metal. Botanist is metal.
Botanist is metal.
That Katera album that is acoustic guitar, like, that's metal. Like, as much as it doesn't sound like metal, like, it's metal.
Yeah, it's like this argument with folk punk.
Yeah.
Like, folk punk's punk.
HJJ, I see it on his topster. Not on his topster, on his 3x3. No.
Look, HJJ are good. Changed my mind.
Yeah, alright. No, but yeah, that's what we think. That's metal. Yeah.
Celebrities, what do they know?
What?
How much do they know?
How much do they know?
Let's find out.
Do they know things? Let's find out. We love you, Netflix, okay? Don't copyright, please.
Dude, I watched the entirety of BoJack Horseman in like 4 days.
Yeah, and did you like feel destroyed inside afterwards?
Yeah, wow. It's definitely one of my favorite shows ever, though.
Yeah, no, right? It's just like, wow, okay. Yeah, no, it's destructive.
They have a Death Grip songs.
Yeah, No Love is in BoJack, which is pretty cool. But anyway,
speaking of
Death Grips
Love,
is not metal, by the way.
Speaking of No Love, dude, I got some Fear Factory news.
Lay it on me.
So here on the incredibly credible source of Metal Injection, we got Fear Factory's Dino Cazares claims Burton C. Bell couldn't sing live anymore, blaming drugs and booze.
Wow.
I'm just saying, dude.
Wow. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'm kind of shook.
I'm happy.
Dude, Burton C. Bell, he was our guy.
I just I'm glad that we have our Fear Factory segment, because there is just so much good, so much good, good tee funny tabloid news. So I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, no, it's hysterical looking at these websites, and don't get me wrong, like, I honestly don't hate Metal Sucks, Metal Injection. Like, they definitely help me get more into metal, and they're useful, and they have they serve their point, but like, wow. They really do go for some truly pointless news stories.
New Thy Art Is Murder song came out. Their new album's coming out at some point, called Killing Season.
Dude, we're gonna listen to this and like talk about it and be like, "Wow, it's actually good." And
No,
that's how you know we're not metalheads.
Thy Art Is Murder is pretty alright. For deathcore.
Yeah. For deathcore, as Adam tips his beret, smokes his pipe, adjusts his monocle.
Fucking literally. However, I do have some actual news. We have actual news. Chris Fenn is suing Slipknot.
He's been suing Slipknot.
Yeah, he's doing it again. He's continuing.
But Adam, Slipknot on a metal man.
Yeah, but they're metal news, which is a bad thing. Yes, Chris Fenn is. Yeah, he's class action lawsuits.
Well, I saw an article like so Chris Fenn got booted from the band before We Are Not Your Cut.
Yeah,
got released. Is that what it was called?
We Are Not Your Kind.
Yeah, the sixth Slipknot album.
Yeah,
that's actually probably their best. The album's great, by the way. Really solid. But Chris Fenn got booted from the band because he was basically like, "Hey, can you guys pay me a living wage?" And Corey Taylor and Clown were like, "You want more than $7.25 an hour? Get cooked.
Get out of here!" No, literally.
And so then Chris Fenn sued them, and then I think it was just settled today. They reached an out of court settlement or something.
Oh well, hey, that's good. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, Chris Fenn was in a. Wait, was it? It's like Willhaven.
What?
All right, Chris Fenn dropped the lawsuit, except he dropped the lawsuit against Slipknot. Settlement unclear.
Oh shit! Well, there you go. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, I think so in a recent interview Machine Gun Kelly did with let me find the actual source of this. Oh, so interview with NME, which is a pretty good source for this sort of thing. He was like, "I think my new album," and I don't know why he doesn't have a text. Anywho, he said he thinks his new album will turn kids back onto the guitar.
Stop.
So that's
it might be right, but I don't know.
Well, hey, if you want to look at like demographics, Taylor Swift has probably sold more guitars in the 2010s than anyone else.
No, you're right. You're absolutely
so, which is bizarre. But no, I mean, I think it's a positive thing. We talked a lot about last week, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the new mainstream for heavy and guitar-driven music is like emo rap, and that's fine. So if Machine Gun Kelly is gonna turn kids on to learn guitar as an instrument and form of musical expression, power to that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. All right. Trapped frontman. Okay, you're gonna love this one, Sam. Last week, he endorsed the Proud Boys.
What?
Yes, he endorsed the Proud Boys. And yep, this is the statement. That he made, I believe, at a show. Okay. So trees in Dallas caved to threats to employees by a few of the under 100 social justice warriors who bitched about Trapped in Dallas and who are also absolute sheep brainwashed by mainstream media. What a shame. Next show for Dallas Proud Boys and LEPOYBCUSJW's there.
Wow, dude, you could say he's headstrong and ready to take on anyone. Dude, fuck Trapped, guys. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to listen to our podcast, simply titled Nazi Punks Fuck Off, screw the Proud Boys, screw white militia groups. And look, I mean, say what you will about Trapped, and a lot of things have been said about them, but their biggest hit Headstrong, Take on Anyone, was a military hit specifically. Like their whole audience sort of caters to that, to like the same thing with the Five Finger Death Punch audience. And so seeing them support, Cops and Blue Lives Matter and Proud Boys is not surprising at all. But holy shit, it's funny.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's fucking horrible, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, that's funny, dude. And similarly funny news, I saw you listening to it. What do you think of the new Deftones remix?
I was gonna ask you earlier. Man, I really don't know. Like,
I think it's cool.
Good for you. Like, nice acoustic, little knife party. Like, I love that song. It just sort of felt like it was, like, just toned down.
I mean, as someone that has to listen to a fair amount of these are the artists that are doing the remix. Like I know in my this station that I work for, we have a lot of Clams Casino, a lot of Blank Mass, a lot of Fantagram, Purity Ring, Trevor Jackson. Yeah. So I've had to listen to a lot of these artists, and I think it's like I was really surprised by how well the sound
it blends very well. But
I think I agree with you. Like, I don't know if I'll ever listen to this and be like, you know what? I'm going to throw on the Deftones remix album.
Yeah.
By the way, White Pony remix album for 20th anniversary called Black Stallion.
It's coming out at some point. Oh, yeah, December 11th. December 11th.
Remember the 11th of December.
That's definitely a thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's cool. Like, and all these are good names. Like, I'm particularly forward to the Clams Casino remix of Clams Casino.
Sure.
And like, we got Mike Shinoda remixing Passenger. Like, which is hysterical.
Yeah, we'll see how that.
But no, I'm like, I look forward to listening to it. It's really cool, and like, as a Deftones fan, it's nice to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice to have.
Go get your knife. Go get your knife.
Maynard James Keenan once again talks on Joe Rogan podcast about having COVID and our Nazi president and wine. Yep.
OMJK.
Do you want to hear the metal bands by Spotify listens?
Oh, sure. I always find this super interesting. Actually, would you mind just linking it to me so we can look at it together?
Sure. It's what you think it's going to be.
Every time I look at this, I'm always surprised by how low Ghost is, because I just assume Ghost is a lot bigger.
This is by Growth, by the way. This is by Growth.
Oh, this is by Growth?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, it's Metal Sucks. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, this is by Growth. Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, looking at these lists is always a combination of, oh, wow, good for them, and like, wow, fuck that.
Yeah, literally.
Like, we got AC/DC, wow, I'm surprised. Linkin Park, wow, never would have seen that one coming. Van Halen, wow, would never would have. Mm-hmm. And then, it goes like that for a while. And then we see, like, Zeal and Ardor, awesome. Pliny, cool. Mayhem, cool. Enslaved, cool. Spirit Adrift, really cool.
Yeah.
Sunno, cool. Author and Punisher, cool.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then you can look at the monthly listeners, like if you scroll down in the article.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm always surprised, because you got like, your boomer bands, and then like Metallica, Nickelback.
Poor Horrendous is at the bottom with like 8,000 listeners a month.
Oh god.
And then Inter Arma 25, Blood Incantation 28. Like, hello?
Well, this is by Growth, right?
Is it? No, that's total.
What?
That's total monthly listener.
I think we're looking at a different 25, like, wait, what?
Yeah, right. And I go on Spotify. Blood Incantation has 27,000 monthly listeners.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good for them, though.
I mean, that's good. Like, I'm happy for them. But, like...
Yeah, or, like...
I don't know. It feels...
Look, dude, I never in a million years would I expect to see fucking Imperial Triumphant at 20,000 monthly listeners. Good for them, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and like I mean, it sort of makes me NGL makes me feel like a poser that I like all the bands towards the back half of this list.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
It's also funny seeing a band like ISIS on this list because they haven't released music in like 10 years.
Literally.
Or like Winter Sun. Like, who the hell listens to Winter Sun nowadays?
Someone.
Yeah, that's always funny. Yeah, and these lists are fascinating, though, seriously.
Mm-hmm. Necrogoblicon has more than Ishon.
Just think about that.
That's all
yeah,
I'm saying.
Necrogoblicon, honestly, kind of sweeping.
Yeah, literally.
Oh gosh, Village Tech's a lot higher than I would have expected.
They're big.
Same thing with like Rotting Christ.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Strapping Young Lad. Wow. Also, Contortionist, like, it always makes you now this makes me feel like a poser when I realize like all the prog bands that I fucking love are just
high up.
Are giant. Like, we got Contortionist at like 200,000, BT Bam 200,000, Tesseract Baroness all there too. Yeah, gosh. No, these are definitely cool lists. I forgot Board of Osiris were so big.
Yeah.
What? Also, when the hell did Unleash the Archers get this big?
What do you mean, when did they get that big? They're a power metal band that I like. That means that they're going to be huge.
Yeah, but that's still surprising, to say the least.
I mean, I guess so. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Gosh, but no, sorry. I just gotta scroll through this and point out anymore. What the hell? Ginger are huge.
Yeah, Ginger's huge.
Like, wait, Teresa's what? That's a different Teresa's, right?
I mean, it's not Turia.
Yeah, no, it's a. Terry just Google them and you'll see it and you'll be like, wow, this is nope.
Yeah, no. Fair enough. Wow, they have an album
Sugar.
called Curry Sauce 2013. Holy shit.
Who the hell listens to Corpaclani? Jesus.
What do you mean? Everyone listens to Corpaclani.
Okay, we shit on Fear Factory enough, right? Fear Factory are bigger than like every other metal band in existence. What the hell?
That's just the way it goes, man. That's the way it goes.
Or like, what the? This just like makes me lose faith in the world.
Yeah.
Also, Architects are huge part. Like, every time I look at one of these lists, it just makes me reevaluate everything. Mudvayne, what?
People still love Mudvayne, dude.
Yeah, see, I always think Ghost is going to be bigger than they are.
No. Even, like, Tool only has, like, 2 million listens. Like, Deftones is bigger than Tool's. Bigger than Tool.
Yeah, gosh. Well, also, Evanescence at 7... God, okay, you know what? Before I cry myself to sleep.
Closing out of the list. Closing out.
Yeah, closing out of the list. Spotify, I know. Did you see that Spotify will allow a new mechanic that will allow... Sorry, excuse me, I'm going to burp.
Kept that away from the mic. Good job.
I know. I'm a professional. Yeah, Spotify, so a bunch of unions... like specifically the Union of Musicians and Allied Workers petition Spotify for a living wage, right?
Yeah, thank
and
Christ.
Spotify, we're like, haha, so tell you what. And they're implementing a system where artists can now lower their royalties in exchange for better promotion through Spotify.
Jesus Christ, Spotify.
And if that isn't a cynical solution,
just
I don't know what
fucking
is.
give the cent per fucking listen. It's not that big a deal. You'll lose a lot of money, but like, wow, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Isn't that a good one? Nice positive note.
Fucking, that's not Pog, dude. That's not.
That
Pog.
is very not Pog.
By the way, this is an off-topic conversation, but I saw a video last night of Chuck E. Cheese streaming Fall Guys on Twitch, and I almost died inside, and I just want to know your opinion.
Like the Chuck E. Cheese?
The Chuck E. Cheese, and he said Poggers at one point during the stream.
Oh my god! All right. If this isn't late-stage capitalism at work, I don't know what is.
Clearly. No, I don't know, man. Fucking pay your artists a goddamn living wage. It's fucking disappointing.
Well, I sort of... as an artist myself, I sort of understand it because Spotify just doesn't make enough, like with the amount of artists, they don't make enough money based on premium subscriptions to pay their artists.
Yeah, but
because it's such a bad business model profit wise. But at the same time, like, holy shit, pay your artists.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Spotify has taken the wrong moves in resolving the situation. That
Oh,
they have
totally,
created.
totally. Like, it seems like they've made every wrong decision they could.
Yeah. Which is not good. But, yeah, here we are. I mean, I guess, but the problem is there you have to go there because no one listens to Napster. I'm sorry, but like I've never.
What do you mean? You don't listen to Napster?
I've never met anyone who seriously uses Tidal. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, and if you look at numbers, it's like ridiculous. Like Spotify, followed closely by Apple Music, have the entire streaming.
Yeah, the whole market.
Yeah, they've cornered the entire market, and there are basically no alternatives.
Wait. Would you consider them a monopoly?
Well, actually, Adam. Luckily, we've seen a lot of lobbying over the past 40 years, so monopoly laws don't really exist anymore.
That's good.
It's really great.
Good. Fun fact: I'm using a song from the New Zealand Art EP for one of my shows. Because I sound designed a show, and one of the new tracks from the New Zealand Art album is on there. Have you listened to Wake of a Nation, Sam?
It's actually pretty good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I'd say it's like
as far as non-pandering metal goes, like it's as far as you can get. Because like it panders, but it doesn't pander.
What do you mean by pander?
Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's obviously a very socially charged release. But I think it does a good job. I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's very pandering. I think it does a good job using its message as bolstering the art instead of detracting from it.
I agree. Yeah.
What releases do we got for this lovely week?
Oh geez, oh golly, oh boy. I don't know. TBH, I don't have a lot on my list, but we can always look up upcoming lists. Oh! There's one that I know that is an actually big release.
Yeah, Fate's Warning, right?
Fate's Warning is coming out, and new Soul Stuff here is also coming out.
Yes, new Soul Stuff here is coming out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Soul Stuff here were so big, and I feel kind of dumb.
They're huge. It's kind of gross how big they are, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, we got. I mean, I have an underground list up in front of me right now.
Sure.
We got Feed Them Death, Shattered Hope, Deluge, Malfested.
All good. Good names. Good names.
They Came From Visions.
Wait.
Loud.
Wait. They Came From Visions already came out.
Really?
Yeah, that's that black metal album that I was like, hey, you should listen to this black metal album that's just under Yellow Eyes worship.
Oh, you're right. I'm dumb. Sorry.
No, well, you read it, so are they getting an official release? Is this a Spotify
this
release?
Argument is not this argument, Jesus. This article is surprise releases plus things we missed.
No. That's true.
Shout out to Invisible Oranges.
Dude,
Invisible Orange, good. Let me go in. Toilet of Hell always has a Toilet Tuesday.
Toilet Tuesday. Well, hey, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I'm looking for any artists I know.
New Alter Bridge EP.
Forsaken Age.
Altered State is being re-released.
Gotcha. Jucifer. Not not the way you think that's spelled.
I don't want to know. I hope.
Yeah, Solstafir. Solts.
I think it's a dead week, dude. The 13th.
Yeah, there's actually.
I think it's a dead week. The 13th though is a massive week. You got AC/DC. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about all that.
Jesus Christ! Why are they still releasing music?
Who, AC/DC?
Dude, I'm just waiting for the new Kiss album.
Look, people will listen to AC/DC till the literal cows come home. Okay, and actually, that is interesting, though, because they do keep releasing music, but, like, how many people have listened to the new AC/DC songs? Like, how many people have listened to the 2014 AC/DC album? Rock or Bust? Who's done that?
It probably has nuts of streams compared to what we like.
Of course, but isn't that weird? Because, like, past 1990, I don't know any AC/DC song. I don't. Actually, speaking of which, I'm going to go on the AC/DC Spotify, because I'm interested, and you're all coming along for the ride. Their 2014 album still has 50 million plays per song. Or the first song has 50 million plays. All of them around that generally hang around 10. But even still, who is listening to these albums?
Well,
like, they can't be good, right?
Look, AC/DC has more lifelong fans than we can comprehend, and the amount of people that Spotify probably recommends these artists to is ridiculous.
Yeah. God, man. I don't even know. I just don't even know. It's really interesting. And I guess hard rock is a genre that we don't really have.
Yeah, our Guns N' Roses metal is hair metal.
All right, no, whoa. We already ended our topic. Right?
We did not. We didn't touch on hair metal, though.
We did not touch on hair metal. I think there's a point where hair metal is metal and where it's not. I think it's also a very case-by-case basis.
I
agree. Yeah, all right. Good.
Gosh, this really is a slow upcoming week.
Yeah, it is.
This is like one of those weeks where I go back and look at all like the hipster blogs and we're like, all right, what should I listen to?
No, yeah. Like what?
Actually, a new Black Market article came out this week.
Fuck! You gotta beat that.
Yeah, and I knew it was good because I didn't recognize any of the artists.
Hold on, let me check. I want to check. See how based I am in comparison to Sam.
Well, sorry, Adam. I've been too busy listening to the Opeth discography instead of Ghost of Perdition.
Okay, I haven't listened to Ghost of Perdition in a long time. The only reason that you're making fun of me is because I told you Ghost of Perdition was a good song and you did not believe.
Okay. Ghost of Perdition is a grower, not a show.
No, it is not a grower. It comes hitting hard and it just goes.
I will say Ghost Reveries is a grower as an album.
Okay.
But I don't know, that album. It's childhood is thinking, oh, you know what? Opeth has a few really solid albums, but none of them are perfect. Adulthood is realizing that Damnation, Blackwater Park, and Ghost Reveries are all perfect albums,
right.
Followed incredibly closely by the other Golden Age Opeth albums.
Sure. I know about half of these. Yeah, New Pregnant Light.
Yeah, I knew. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I was on my Spotify Discover Weekly trying to find new music that I could play on the radio that wasn't just black metal, and I saw the APL record, and I was like, oh, it's probably good.
It's an EP. It's pretty good.
Did you hear what they did this year for releasing music?
I did. Well, what he did, it's a solo.
I'm sorry. Well, you know what, Adam? I don't really believe in using gender-conforming pronouns for anyone. So.
All right. But yes, I have heard about the phone number. The dial up a song.
Yeah, that's honestly, like, don't get me wrong, that's boomer as heck, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It is boomer, though. Late boomer.
But isn't he, like, 30?
I think so. Yeah, I think. It doesn't say his age on that one.
Granted, an underground solo metal / post-hardcore artist it's probably not easy to find his personal information, but no. He doesn't strike me as a boomer.
No, he's not a boomer, I don't think. But anyway, that's a topic for another time.
This is almost double the length of all of our podcasts.
No, we're only at about, like an hour 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's almost double the length of all of our podcasts.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have something to talk about next week too, I'm sure.
Yeah, something. Maybe we'll talk about the impending mob rule, depending on the result of tonight's elections.
Yeah. We hope you voted. We should have said vote at the end of our last episode, but we didn't.
It's okay. I think we only have 3 views on YouTube, so...
Excuse me, we have an average of 6 listeners. By the way, shout out to our foreign listeners in the places around the world, like Russia and Sweden and New Zealand.
Our comrades, hell yeah.
Our comrades. U.S. listeners, you're cool too, but we like to see that people are actually.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I feel like we talk more about foreign bands than American bands.
Yeah, but that just happens with metal.
Yeah, that's just the way the news goes.
Whoa! Did you know Anchor, which is one of the podcast services that we're on, has statistics from every planet in our solar system? Unfortunately, we only have listeners on Earth, but they're on there.
You're part of the problem. Just to let you know, dude.
I'm not lying. This isn't a joke. This is not a bit. I'm being serious. But anyway.
Oy vey. Oh, well, I think that's a natural endpoint. Well, we'll be back next week for a spicy talk about something vaguely metal related.
Sounds about right.
I have been Sam.
And I'm Adam.
And I don't know, support the show on streaming services and YouTube and whatnot. Hopefully, if you're an American, the next few weeks don't go too horribly.
Yeah.
And on that note,